Hi. Where to start now? I got a few things in. I had to order these, the upper mounts for the radiator support. I started working on the wiring, and what goes up front, plugs in on this side. And somehow I got to find the right clips and things, that gets held down there by a little clip from here to here. These are the ones that go on the side. Little ground wire here comes out of the harness. Over here, you've got, this is the first clips, the round ones, then the square ones, those are big square ones, and then another round one, another one that screws in here, and a ground. That's for the headlights. Don't know why this one was as long as it is, because it just basically goes from there to there. I may cut it and shorten it later. The other thing, and I'll have to start the motor and do some looking at, but so we had it on the dyno, had it running, blah, blah, blah. Never really idled it much. I think I've gone over this. But for it to idle now, being it's cammed up and everything, I'm gonna guess it was maybe 1,000, 1,200. And even when we ran it before, never idled it down and just let it idle. Kept it up a little bit. But I noticed that I had to raise that idle screw quite a bit. And all I can guess is it's because now it's got exhaust mufflers and headers. And even though it was adjusted and put on running motor twice, even when this was up on the dyno, I'm trying to think, I don't think we ever let it really just idle. It was a new motor, so we kept it up. Once it warmed up, we ran it up, checked the horsepower and did things. Not a lot of break-in because it was a roller cam, supposedly. And it just seems like the main butterflies inside there are cracked open, which means it's not in the idle circuit. So I'll probably have to get it good and warm once I've got it going, and then readjust the idle air mixture screws, the ones down here, because there's nothing else on this. I know there's not a vacuum leak, because if I shut this, shut the choke after it's running, it just dies. Or accidentally I cover it with my hand, it just dies. So it's not pulling air from anywhere, which is good. Everything's sealed. But there were so many little fittings on here and I've plugged them all because I'm not using them. This was a fitting. This is one that went to the charcoal canister. This one PVC we're using. The one over here was vacuum advance, but I'm not running the vacuum advance. I've got it locked out or just disconnected. I'm running 32 on it. And again, I'll mess with that later, but that's what we broke it in on the dyno. Runs great. A little rowdy. And then just to make things look right, I cleaned up the canister, put it back. Everything's plugged except the vent. And, if somebody ever wanted to, I guess, this is the way it would be hooked up. This goes to the, actually one of them goes to the carburetor. One of them runs through, which I also removed. There was a heat switch down here. And we got rid of all that emissions crap. But it looks nice. I also pulled the charcoal out of the bottom because I had taken so it's just a hollow box now to maybe catch some of the gas vent. If it smells, I can just take a sock full of charcoal, something, put it in the bottom, but I don't think it'll be an issue. What was I going to say? I forgot what I was going to say. Damn, I'm getting old. We'll catch it in the next one. But that was what all I've got done today. Just cleaning up that stuff. I'm going to go ahead and, and one thing I noticed, this has, so for the windshield wiper motor, this is now an electric motor. And for some reason, it was backwards. This may have been that way to begin with, but now I've got to flip it because the positive's on this side. And I did go look. I mean, I actually wrote hot on it right there. So I think I've already got, I'll double check it. But that's it. I mean, everything, I got a tree there. I could just put one little nipple on there and be fine, but that's the stuff it came with. So when you first glance, it looks original. Another thing, maybe I mentioned this already too, but I was looking for, because now I know I'm getting real close to doing, putting the doors on. I've got to get them buffed, get the stuff in. But once this wiring's done, I mean, that's where I'm at. I've got to throw the doors on, get the trunk lid on, and then, you know, like I say, it's going to go pretty quick at that point. Well, not with the way I've been working. I've been working every maybe 2 days on it. So when I knew doors were coming, I looked around and couldn't find enough door bolts. I'm like, where the hell did I put them? So I went through every box I've got, and like everybody, I got 4 boxes, bowls down there full of screws. I went through, found a shiz ton of them, and trunk bolts, and not those, they're over here, and door bolts, because there was some different ones, you know. And I had some that had and they looked like that, and some had 9/16 head, some had a half head. You know, well, what's right? I'm being anal again. Well, they probably used one bolt on the body side, one bolt on the door side, depending on where they were in the assembly line. And I doubt they really cared as long as they fit. So I'm digging through here, and it's like I was just 1 or 2 short of everything. I didn't have enough of, and again, they don't have to be the same, but I wanted them the same. So while I was doing that, I sanded all the little nose pieces. I only need 10, but I had them so I did that. And same thing, some of the odd screws, the trunk I did, you can see the size of those. And then I had fender bolts that were a little bigger. I did those, and I always use these. These are just inner fender mounts and things. But it was driving me nuts. I'm like, man, I swear I had door bolts. And again, you spend 30 minutes looking through things. And I'm like, let me go see if I had them in the paint room anywhere. Already done. So, man, I don't know if I'm just getting old or forgetful or what the hell it is. Or you got so many little projects going, you just forget about them. So they're already painted. And again, they were different, but really, you can't tell when you put them in. Who gives a shit? So that's where I'm at now. I'm going to start working on the door pieces. I think I may have showed you this. Finally got those in. I got all the buckets mounted. Got the adjusters in, so that's ready to go on. I found a guy. I was missing this piece. Found the guy that had one, so it's an original piece, and for some reason, it's what I wanted. So you can see it's a little scratch, but cleaned up really nice. That's just what I wanted. So got that on there, and that's it for now. I'm just gonna go back to working on this little bit of stuff. I'll just update, make this a larger video because there's really nothing there that's too interesting. I think maybe you're really bored and want to watch it. So I'll just take some short videos and we'll go from there. Bye. Alrighty. Obviously back to buffing. Yesterday video, all the stuff I've done on the car. I'm kind of good with that. I just need to finish up, get things mounted. So I got the trunk lid buffed, and she turned out pretty nice. Like I say, you can see the difference, like the reflection of the lights, and you can kind of see the orange peel in there. That's all I did was take that out. Still took me about 4 hours just to do the trunk lid. Filler panel, I started on it, I'll buff it off. That will take a little while. And again, there's other videos on that. These turned out so nice that I started with 1,000 grit. 1,000, 12, 15, 2,000, and then buffed it. And that's because they laid out pretty smooth, hardly any trash at all. And just a reminder, I buff it with a red pad, heavy cut, and I use this Pro Speed compound. That gets, it's that good just using that. Because it's bright, man, in the sun, it's so bright you can't even stare at it. But I'll finish it up with this and a black pad. And you can see a little difference, not a whole lot, but that's all that I use. I've got a forced rotation buffer. It's kind of like a DA, but it's forces it to go. I bought that one for the black stuff because it makes it look like oil, no swirl marks or anything. And I'll run it on these pieces, but not necessary. Black just shows everything. But as you can tell, I have gone through tens of bottles. I've tried everything, 3M, Mendoza, the Chemical Brothers, I've used them all. And then multiple different, I've used wool, the foam works good for me. I started out using wool, foam works good. And that's just a process that works for me. It buffs that stuff right out. While I was looking, I went and found the screws I needed to mount everything and sandblasted those, and I got to paint them. And again, the other videos, man, it just takes so much time to do that stuff. It's unreal. First off, finding them all. Hell, I've got nuts and bolts scattered everywhere, so that's that. I'm just going to get back in here and buff a little bit. Any questions you have about anything, the buffing thing? This works for me. It's very fast. And I'll do more in a little bit.